It's good.
Did you hear that?
I got that.
Okay. That's all you, big dog.
Hi, my name is Forrest, and I am an alcoholic, a grateful alcoholic. I am 60 years old. I was born in Austin, Texas, and I still reside just outside of town in that area. My sobriety date is 9/21/2010. I was uh, I was brought up in a what I consider a less than stellar environment as a child, and it was basically an environment that I didn't feel loved or appreciated or anything like that. And it oh, and by the time I was 12 years old, um, I felt like I was 12 years old and all alone in this world with no one that cared about me, and it was very sad and very scary existence for me. And at age 12, I discovered alcohol, and that that helped me to relax. Um, it made things not so scary and not so sad, or at least numbed all of that. And that was basically when that happened. When I made that discovery, I was pretty much off to the races with it. Um, and so it was age 12 and off and going, and my childhood, prior to that, we were the type of people that went to church every Sunday, and I had a long list of things in my head that I felt like that I was going to be sent to hell for, because that's basically all I got out of church was what a bad person I was, and so I'm coming to the realization that my parents doesn't give they don't give a shit. My God doesn't care for me because I've already been told where He's going to send me, and so it's off to figure this out on my own. Just being me and the alcohol, and then around right at age 16, I was drugged and raped by a group of men, and that did not that did not help matters any at all. And so, basically, from age 12 to age 48, I was on my own. Fuck it, I'm gonna I have no choice. It's just me against the world, and basically, with the lack of tools that I had at the time, um, it was just a terrible mess. It was a terrible, terrible mess, a very sad existence, um, and that went on for 36 years. 36 years of my life, I drank very hard and didn't understand and didn't come across the help that I needed. And if I did, I wouldn't accept it because I was still in that fuck the world mode. Um, And yeah, for 36 years, I went on. And went through the normal stuff, the trashed relationships, the divorces, the isolation from pretty much all human contact as much as I could. I did maintain employment through that 36 years without a problem. I never had a problem in that area, but it was not a good existence. I even lost contact with my youngest son through my first marriage. I had two children, two boys, and I lost for almost 3 years. I lost contact with my youngest son. I did not see my oldest grandson until he was a year old. Um, and so at 48 years old, my life was just a wreck. I had, and matter of fact, I had even told someone that in 48 years, I'd fucked up more than I can fix before I die. Still thinking that I had the power to fix anything. Um, and at the time, I was married to a lady who had been in the program for 2 years. Um, and from time to time, I would go to meetings with her just to basically shut her up or maybe make myself feel like I was doing something decent or whatever. But yeah, at age 48, she asked me on the way out the door one day if I wanted to go to a meeting, and at this point, I just wanted out. I was done. I was done. I needed some relief. I, I I could not take any more of this. Every aspect of my life just being garbage. Um, I won't say I was ever suicidal, but um, I was to the point where if the man upstairs was going to send me to hell, I was ready. Fuck it. It can't be any worse than this. That's what I thought in my mind. And so she asked me on the way out the door, "Do you want to go to a meeting?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" So I walked into a meeting, and I'd been in this room several times in the past. And the one thing that I noticed in this room, I had gone to a couple of meetings, and I had gone to birthday celebrations, and I noticed these fuckers were always laughing, and I couldn't understand that. I just it amazed me, and I did like that aspect. They were always happy. They seemed to always be laughing, and they were never judgmental of me. I never got that feeling that they were judgmental. And so I go into this meeting and I sit down, and of course, close to the door, because I'd already scoped the room out. I'd been there before. I knew where the door was and the best seat and how the hell to get out quick if I needed to. And so I have a seat, and it's going around the room as it did in that meeting. And I already knew all I had to say was, "I'm just here to listen," and it would pass on by me. Well, it came to me, and I didn't say that. The next thing I knew, the words, "Hi, my name is Forrest and I am an alcoholic," came out of my mouth. And to this day, I swear, I, I heard the words come out, but I, I, I just chalk it up to God doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. And those words came out. And when they did, I thought I was going to hit the ceiling. I literally thought I was going to lift out of the seat. The the incredible weight that was lifted off of me when I said those words the first time was absolutely incredible. It was a phenomenal feeling, and yeah, so after I said that and I felt really good, I thought, well, I guess we'll give this a shot and see what happens. I mean, felt pretty good saying that. And these guys are always laughing at whatever, so let's give this a shot. So I started going to meetings every day, sometimes two a day. And that day, I quit drinking that day. And I have not had a drop since that day. I was getting along to about day three, and I had moved a little further into the room, not by the back door anymore. I was getting a little brave there on day three, I guess it was, and I sat down, and I could finally focus a little bit and look. It was had all been kind of a blur until then, and I looked up on the wall, and it had the steps up there on the wall, and all I saw, I couldn't read the steps. All I saw was the word God up there on the wall in step three, and I immediately thought, I'm fucked. I'm gonna have to depend on this dude that's gonna send me to hell. I'm not gonna make it because I already know about him. I know all about him. I've heard it all my life. So I thought. A couple of the older guys, they just said, "Don't worry about it. Just relax. Keep coming back." And I did. And you know, through that process, I learned that God was not who I thought He was. God was whoever I saw Him as, not as He. Other people did not dictate what God was. That they taught me that, and I always tell people I had in my mind this big blackboard in my head, this big chalkboard, and it had all of the stuff about God on it, all of it, and AA, the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, allowed me to erase that board and get all that bullshit off of there. And 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 I tell people today, I'm the God and myself are the only two that write on that board now. And I repeatedly hear things from people. Well, God is this. I have a problem with the God part. I'll do all of it, but the God part. And I'm like, well, why? And, well, God's this or God's that. And I always ask them, who told you that? Did God tell you that? And 100% of the time, no, that's just what I've heard. And it's like, no, it's not about that. It's about you experiencing God for yourself in your own personal way. Nobody gets to dictate how that happens. And so I was able to learn that. And for years, people would ask me, I would go along, and they would say, well, what is the program of Alcoholics Anonymous given you? And I would say, for years, I said, hope. It gave me hope. And now I say it a little differently because I was able to understand that my higher power loved me. That was not his goal to send me to hell. I understood that he loved me, and therefore, through that, I could start loving myself, which I had not done. And once I started to, I thought if I'm worthy of God's love, something that's that big, then I have got to be worthy of my own love. And I started learning to love myself. And as time went along, I learned to love others. And then the fourth phase of that was learning to let others love me, which was probably one of the tougher ones for me, in the beginning. And I didn't come from a background of love. It was never said in my house. No one ever said I love you. It just wasn't. It wasn't a concept that I was at all familiar with. I knew nothing of it, and so today, when people ask me, I say, I through love, I have hope. That is what Alcoholics Anonymous. One of the things it's done for me, and that's been a very important aspect of it um, for me. So as time goes along, I I learn to love others and allow them to love me, and things started to get better. The unmanageable portion of my life was getting smaller. The wreckage of the past was being dealt with. Life was getting better, and I could finally, after a while, start to see the benefit of this program. Not only was I not drinking, but now I was starting to live a useful life, um, a life that not only was good for me, but a life that was helpful to others. And at in the beginning of my sobriety, I got I got on this kick about 36 years of my life were wasted drinking, and I really fought with this and battled with this for a long time, and I prayed about it and I prayed about it, and the answer that I got was the 36 years that I spent drinking was not wasted if I use that to help others. Now, if I don't pass it along and help others, then possibly it was wasted. And we look in the rooms today. The rooms are full of people that aren't even 36 years old, and I'm looking and I'm thinking, what a blessing! What a blessing to have so many young people in the rooms today, and that get to start their lives without this big heap of wreckage. They get to start their families, and it's just an incredible thing. It's really beautiful, and so today after coming through all of that, and then the pandemic hits, and absolutely, that is when my recovery started moving into the next level. For all of these years, I live in a small town, and I would go to meetings, and they had about 3 places that had meetings, and it's the same group of people that basically just migrate from one meeting to the next. And even to this day, I could sit down and almost tell you everyone's story. Not that any of that is bad. Not that that's the people I got sober with in the beginning. There's nothing wrong with that. But when I got to get out into the world and see all of these different perspectives, the goal is exactly the same. The work is exactly the same. The approach is not always the same. How people tackle it, how people deal with it. It was a blessing to get to see all of that, and get to meet people. It's just been a tremendous blessing, and I balked at it at first because I'm not a tech guy, and I got a call. Hey, we're going to start this meeting. I thought you might want to be a part of it, and it's on Zoom. And I'm like, fuck. Here we go with this shit. I don't want to sit in a Zoom meeting. I've had done some Zoom meetings that weren't AA meetings, and man, I just, for some reason, initially didn't want any part of it. And just as loud and plain and as clear as I could hear it in my head, I heard, "This is an opportunity." And that was it. And I was like, "Oh, well, here we go. Thank you, God, and we'll give this a shot." So we started off in that, and it's been one of the greatest experiences that I've been fortunate enough to experience in sobriety. All of these wonderful people from all over the world, and their messages are all, while we're all the same, their messages are all different. Their approaches are different. It's just, I think the majority of the people involved in all of this have really leveled up for all of us. It's taken us up to the next step, and I just, I can't say how grateful I am for the Zoom community, for people like you that do this, and just without thinking about it, just working hard to give to others. And that's one of the ways that I stay sober today, is by trying to help others. If I can pass any kind of message along to anyone, that will shave 1 second of misery off of their time, and help them find their way to this other side, I will do it. I want to do that, and I want to help people. And for anyone that would care to get a hold of me, I am active on Instagram. I am at sober_Texas, and just reach out, shout at me. Actually, if you find yourself in a bad spot, my phone number is on that page as well. Call it. I'll pick it up. I answer 24/7, and will do anything that I can and head you in the right direction. I don't have all the answers. I'm not perfect, but I know a lot of people with a lot of answers, and I know a lot of people that are more than willing to reach a hand out and help you up. Thank you for letting me share.